I mean, this is a railroad job unlike anything we've ever seen in politics.
I just got to say, with all the crimes committed with presidents and ex-presidents in the history of this country, how did it come down to an accounting error now, you know?
Yeah, think about it. Think about the list, the Clinton body count, think about the Epsteins and everything else. All of that stuff's happened, and it's like, well, we finally found a way to convict a politician. He filled out some paperwork wrong. Let's send him to jail. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's the big day. Over the Line podcast, Andrew McClain, John Bird.
Yes, President Trump, yes.
Who is obviously on the phone with Donald Trump before the verdict is read. Tony Gump as well.
I'm here.
Man, it's been a while since we've been in here, and what a day to return.
Man.
Because we are patiently waiting the verdict in this New York Trump case. Now, just to catch everybody up to where we're at, because we're going to be finding this out in real time. You've got 34 counts. Donald Trump, the jury's been deliberating for 2 days in this railroad job that is corrupt to its core. Compromised DAs, compromised judges, compromised witnesses. Everything about this is a sham, banana republic, kangaroo court. But here's what worries me, because this is the point we're at now. Mm-hmm. The jury has reached a verdict, and we're currently waiting on the jury to come back with the verdict and read it in the courtroom. Quick, what do you guys think? What do y'all think is going to happen? I'm 50-50.
I don't feel good.
Here's what bothers me is when you come back that quickly, that eliminates a hung jury.
Right.
So it's going to have to be one or another, and it would be surprising that if they, had enough time to go through each charges and it's a mismatch of different guilties and not guilties. What do you think, Tony Gump?
Well, I personally, being in New York, being this quick, there's no way they're going to find him not guilty. There's too much TDS in that city, and look what happened in the Eugene Carroll case.
Oh my
gosh,
this is. I'm going to be honest. This is more stressful than I thought it was going to be.
And I've got a lump in my throat.
Well, what did Trump say when you were talking to him?
He has a lump in his throat too.
Okay, good. I would imagine so.
Ice. He's having a drink.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Tony Gump, if you will, find us a live stream because we want to see this in real time.
I'll do ABC, I think.
We have.
Andrew, do you think it's going to go all 30? You think it's going to be all or nothing? Or
I don't know. Part of me says yes. I'm 50-50 on the deal. Let's, ABC News is perfect. Let's go to these guys.
On the kind of testimony that would be reread back to the jurors. Those requests made by that jury, that those officers, everybody in that court responsible for keeping the courtroom safe would stay into the evening, along with the court reporters who would then have to read this testimony back. That's what played out this morning. Court reporters reading back the testimony that had been agreed upon by both sides.
I wonder how many minutes this is going to take.
Prosecution.
I don't know, but it's such a tragedy that we're even in this position as a country, that we're sitting here having to spend a podcast watching whether or not a president is convicting a former president and current frontrunner in the race.
Outside the courthouse,
it seems
Aaron, it's our
it's
understanding
surreal.
The judge back in that
really
courtroom,
is.
Donald Trump standing as the judge entered the court.
The
what do we
key
know
is,
about
are they
the
going to make
jury
him
at
a
this
martyr or not?
The jury has just entered the courtroom, David, filing right past former President Trump on their way in. Most of the jurors appeared to avoid
It's got to be guilty. They wouldn't do it this fast. There's no way.
The judge is now formally reading into the record
Stand
the
by,
note
Aaron.
indicating
Stand
there's
by.
a verdict.
We are
The
learning
former
right now,
person is
Aaron.
rising.
The foreperson is standing in that courtroom. Let's wait for reporting from inside the courtroom.
Here we go.
The control room listening to this very closely. Aaron, you are as well from our team inside the courtroom and in the overflow.
If he's guilty,
the verdict is
he's
now
winning
being
the
read.
election.
As you can
Just
see on the
saying.
screen here, count
making him a
one.
martyr.
There's two
guilty.
already.
Count
Whoa.
2, the former president found guilty. Count 3, guilty. We await count 4 here. As you can see, the first 3 counts, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, found guilty of 3 felony counts so far. The foreperson in that courtroom.
Jeez.
Fuck.
They're going to
Count
run the
4,
table.
Guilty.
Yeah,
Count
they are.
5, guilty. Count 6, guilty. As we continue to enter in what we're learning from
7,
the courtroom, it's our belief that
8.
first 19 counts, I'm being told, the former president has been found guilty of. Counts 20 through 23 found guilty as well.
It's going to be all of them.
So correct me, control room, all the way through count 23 now found guilty. We are now up to count 26
They need to rename it to Trump Derangement
and count
City.
27 found
Yes.
guilty as well. So again,
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to pause here. He's been found guilty 31 counts now of guilty as we wait for the graphic to catch up to the reporting coming from the courthouse. Count 33 and counts 34 coming in right now. Guilty on all counts.
I knew
Wow.
This jury
knew
in
it.
New York City,
Wow.
a jury of his peers.
So
finding
just
the
mute
former
that for a second. Keep that live stream going, and we'll go back to it in a moment. 34 counts guilty, all 34. What does that mean? What that means is the mugshot out of Fulton County is going to look like child's play compared to the reaction that these people are going to get. Because people like myself, the people that listen to this podcast, the people that listen to our radio show, are going to be pissed off. Now, in the big picture, this goes to an appeals court. And if we have any shred of decency or even justice in this country, that will be overturned, and I am confident it will be. I know that's a bold prediction at this point, but it's the fact that they had the balls to do this, to rig the court, and to do this coming from the Joe Biden DOJ, coming directly from the White House. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, what did they do? They sent down an entourage of Robert De Niro and a couple of loser J6 cops to speak on their behalf. They put the press release out and said, this is the Biden-Harris campaign. We're sending these guys out on behalf of us, letting you know, essentially, hey, we're involved in this. We're the ones doing this, and we don't care that you know.
The big thing is going to be the sentencing. Because, I mean, I'm wondering what's going to happen, well, tonight or tomorrow. Are there going to be demonstrations from conservatives? We're just going to sit on our hands. But if you try and demonstrate, what is the Biden government going to do in reaction?
Oh, they would love for a massive amount of MAGA protesters to be out in the streets causing a ruckus. It's not going to happen because that's not who we are. Even on, I got to be careful, even on January J, X Day, I didn't say that right, but you get it.
We get it.
It was a say from the beginning, and that's not who MAGA actually is. This right here is going to fire up the MAGA base unlike anything anybody has ever seen in politics.
I don't think it's just going to be the MAGA base. I think your older Democrats, with everything that's going on and the black vote, I think eyes are opened even more.
Well, with the black vote, younger blacks are breaking for Trump hard.
Yep.
And they, When they see this, no matter how you feel the black community is treated by the police or the justice system, they connect with this. They connected with that mugshot. You'll be like, well, you're glorifying getting a mugshot. No, they just feel like they understand being done dirty by the justice system. And no matter who is or who isn't, this guy absolutely is being done dirty by not just the justice system, but the executive branch and the judicial branch, and really the Congress as well. I mean, this is a railroad job unlike anything we've ever seen in politics.
I just got to say, with all the crimes committed with presidents and ex-presidents in the history of this country, how did it come down to an accounting error now, you know?
Yeah, think about it. Think about the list, the Clinton body count. Think about the Epsteins and everything else. All of that stuff's happened, and it's like, well, we finally found a way to convict a politician. He filled out some paperwork wrong. Let's send him to jail.
Yeah, and none of this was even violent. None of it. And I'm not even sure. They say it was for payment to stop bad press. Everybody does that.
It's not a crime. It's not a crime. There was no crime defined by these people. Let's go back to live coverage and see what they're saying.
Election,
even though ABC News
found
sucks.
Guilty again on all counts by a jury of his peers. Again, we know the makeup of this jury come from a cross-section of life in this country. 2 attorneys among that jury pool. It's been said in other cases along the way that the prosecution doesn't always like having lawyers sitting in that jury box, but in this case, both sides agreed to those 2 jurors in particular, lawyers who perhaps, as we'll find out in the days to come, might have helped explain some of the very detailed jury instructions from Judge Juan Merchan. Again, the former president you see there on the screen found guilty on all counts. Some of the color coming in from the courtroom from our team. The former president, Donald Trump, watching very closely as the jury was polled. They all replied yes when asked if this was their verdict. The district attorney himself, Alvin Bragg, stern-faced in the courtroom. Todd Blanche was the one who asked to poll the jury. Of course, that is the lead defense attorney in this case for Donald Trump. Donald Trump watching again as they were being polled, looking over at the jury as each one of them was individually polled on the verdict. One of our reporters describing the former president as slumped over in his chair, slumped somewhat, looking at the jury as they delivered the verdict, adjusting his head each time to get a look at each of the jurors as, again, they were polled individually. So, again, just describing, and it's obviously the limitations of the court system here in New York, no cameras in court. But as we know, we've described to you what would happen. The judge would enter that courtroom. I wonder how many jurors
are going to get a book deal after this.
Along with,
they'll be heroes
in that courtroom. The jury then re-entering.
And that's why, you can go back to just mute this video. I sent you an email of Donald Trump's reaction. He apparently just walked out of the courtroom after they read this stuff. I want to hear what he's got to say. But one of our biggest concerns, especially when do y'all remember the process of selecting this jury?
Yes.
And it was people that are like single women in their 50s that live with a roommate, that get their news from NPR or Washington Post, or they get their
Yahoo,
TikTok, and it's like, dude, what an absolute sham this was from the very freaking beginning. All right, here's Trump walking out of the courtroom. This is his live reaction.
Are you worried about going to jail? This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
Yes.
And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
Yes.
You have a Soros-backed DA. And the whole thing, we didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end and we'll win. Because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
There you go, Trump. Tell him, baby. This is far from over. We're about to see something that none of us have ever seen in the political realm.
No, I mean, just this year alone, just 2024, going into almost half a year, is just, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
You think, I'm thinking strategy-wise, if I'm a Democrat, if I'm a strategist, this is the last thing I would want to be doing right now. This is not a good day. Now, you're going to have MSNBC and CNN, and I'm sure they're just doing victory laps and dancing and all kinds of stuff at this moment. But if they're being intellectually honest with themselves,
yeah,
they are in absolute freak out mode. They've got to understand what comes next. And maybe it didn't sink in because if you remember the commentary from these people, they were not very confident on how this was going to turn out. It wasn't because of how they felt the jurors were going to think. It was because of what they were seeing in the courtroom and how much of a disaster it was for Alvin Bragg, how much of a disaster it was for the prosecution. Mm-hmm. And so they said, no, this ain't going to work out good for us. But they took for granted how liberal that city is and how hard that judge and those prosecutors tried to make sure to get favorable jurors. That's it.
Yeah, I kind of think that all the people that absolutely hate Trump are loving all this, but the strategists are not going to like this because if you think it all through, there's a lot of time before the election, and this is going to fire up people that wouldn't have voted for him, in my opinion at least.
That TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, I'm telling you, because they're going to be, you're right, they're going to be beating their chests, and I believe that they're stupid enough that their strategy is to continue to attack Trump and ignore everything else.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing for us that we can have.
Tony, I'm just sending you some rampant stuff here, so just keep an eye on your email. I just want to take a step back and assess as we're talking about CNN and MSNBC dancing around and celebrating and everything else. When you watch that, which you'll be watching it tonight, you'll be hearing it tomorrow on the radio show, remember that this is exactly what they feared Trump would do to his opponents. What they just did to him.
Yes. Projection.
Joe Biden and the Democrats have just done it to Donald Trump. I want you to watch this. It's you can't make this up. It's hypocrisy at a level that nobody could even imagine.
Now that he's got the right attorney general in position to do it, we now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies, politically motivated persecution, right? Courtesy of Bill Barr. I'll roll in the FBI on you. That's how banana republics work, right?
The home of the 45th president of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
Mr. Trump is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I feel worried about the prospect of the Justice Department being used as a tool of this president or any. In our little banana republic, any capable prosecutor can get a grand jury to hand down an indictment of something as innocent as a ham sandwich.
Today, an indictment was unsealed. charging Donald J. Trump.
Breaking news on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the 4th time in 5 months.
Bill Barr, on the president's behalf, is weaponizing the Justice Department to go after the president's enemies. When you win an election, you don't seek to just prosecute the losing side.
The president using the Justice Department as a weapon to get what he wants.
The Department of Justice is totally politicized.
So ironic.
The Department of Justice on political opponents, threatening to imprison his political rival, Banana Republic style.
Trying to exact revenge against all of his enemies, tin pot dictator in a banana republic.
Is acting more like a banana republic dictator.
He's using government resources to go after his political opponent.
Essentially, we are a banana republic. That we are seeking to have a bogus and criminal investigation into a political opponent.
And that's using the Department of Justice to also target Trump's political opponent for nefarious reasons. This is a massive abuse of power and a betrayal of our values.
The President of the United States is targeting a family member of a political opponent. This is the type of thing that happens in a banana republic.
And trying to take out a political rival in Joe Biden.
Criminally investigating an American political rival, someone the president is worried about losing to in the next election.
They're all getting the same memo.
My principal opponent or a principal opponent in the upcoming election. Houston, we have a problem.
Don't you think that's something that should be investigated when the incumbent political party opens a counterintelligence investigation on the candidate of the opposing party?
Absolutely.
We know Trump is itching to politicize the Justice Department, and the Attorney General has been super shady.
The president is weaponizing the Department of Justice to bring cases against his enemies. The Department of Justice is in an existential crisis.
Again, it's yet another example of the Justice Department basically losing all of its independence in this administration.
This is now about corrupting the next election. And for me, this was crossing the red line.
A president who is actively trying to potentially steal the upcoming election.
But to try to take out a political rival.
Talking about Biden.
The end goal being 2020.
Donald Trump and his attorney general are using the Justice Department. The only difference between this and a banana republic is that Trump does not eat fruit.
The 2020 election is really the last chance we have to stop our system from fully sliding into a corrupt banana republic.
Bill Barr has done everything that Donald Trump has wanted him
I'm
to
gonna vomit.
do. Yeah. We're living in a banana republic right now.
When you start using the Justice Department to go after your enemies, that's very, very dangerous.
Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice to go after his enemies in any way that he can.
Having the head of the chief federal law enforcement agency essentially working on his behalf to investigate a political rival.
Okay, John Bird's about to explode. We'll go ahead and cut that. For those of you that are listening to the audio version of this podcast and couldn't see the visuals, what you had there was clips from 2018, 2019, and 2020 where they were all talking about Donald Trump and the horrific possibility that he would go after his political opponents with the FBI or the DOJ.
It's amazing. Put Biden in place of Trump from what they're saying and put it in this year, and it's exactly to a T what's happening. It's
Right.
not deviating at all.
It's hypocrisy at a level I don't think we've ever seen. Tony Gump, if you would take the ABC News, but make sure it's live, like as of right now, just move it all the way to the front. To the end, and just take it all there you go. Take it all the way to the end, and bring it to us. I think we've got a shot of Donald Trump leaving the courthouse, if I believe that's accurate. Oh, they didn't throw him in jail. How about that?
Hired him in the first place because he was somebody, the prosecution argued, who would lie on Donald Trump's behalf, who would do anything on Donald Trump's
I think that's
behalf.
his car leaving.
Such was his loyalty to Trump. Cohen once famously said that he would be willing to take a bullet for Donald Trump. But when
that's ABC just giving analysis on the verdict there.
Is it really analysis?
No, it's analyst is what it is. That's what it is. You get brainworms from listening to that kind of stuff.
This almost all just seems like theater, like it was all supposed to happen this way or something. It just seems surreal to me.
I was 50-50, but once we ended up getting the verdict, like I was in a meeting this afternoon, and when I got out of the meeting and got into the car, Leland was just then saying, "Hey, the jury's reached a verdict. Now we wait." And that's when I kind of got that sinking feeling, and I was like,
"Yeah,
that's probably not good. That's probably not good." But it's whatever. Again, we're about to see a backlash unlike any of us have ever seen. Anybody. And this is going to be the worst thing Democrats could have ever done, because what the Republicans need to do at this point is start getting out in front of cameras and break down this case. It's the biggest news story of the year. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the details. Let's talk about the judge. Let's talk about his daughter that's made millions of dollars from the same Democrats that have been trying to get Trump. Let's talk about the donors and the people that were directly involved that had special access to the courtroom throughout all of this.
Yes.
There were people getting basically VIP passes to be in there, the same people that are working with Democrats to take down Trump. This is
like a freaking ball game.
This is crazy, man. This is just crazy. Look at that image right there. Guilty on all 34 counts.
Well, now's a good time to announce I've been working on it for about 2 weeks, but I'm working on a song called Trump Train.
Really?
Yes. I want to do a video to it. I want it to be big. I'm not talking about for me, but I want people to be able to get behind it.
If we do a parody song about this, what would it be called? What would we parody?
I don't know, but I just want to say the harsher the punishment he's going to get is going to be the easier he's going to have to win, in my opinion.
Oh, I dare you to throw him in jail. I double dog dare you. Just you don't even have to throw him in jail. Just give him a jail sentence and let him carry that to the Court of Appeals. Just the thought that you jabronis would be willing to do that.
Yeah, they'll regret that show, The Orange is the New Black, if they make that happen.
Orange is the new orange, baby.
Yep.
That's what's up.
Man.
I don't know, man. It was just...
I think he truly saw this coming. I really do. I think Donald...
He probably did.
Yeah.
Oh, he's always one step ahead. So he's got contingency plans for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he had I think he has different contingency plans for whether or not he was found not guilty, and the choices that are in front of him as far as probation, fine, prison, or prison and fine. I think that they are prepared for any of that comes down the line.
Well, they have made it clear here, and they have confirmed themselves by setting this precedent that if they want to go after political opponents, New York is the place to do it. Washington, D.C. is the place to do it. Because when it comes to January J6 days, they're getting almost 100% conviction rate. In New York, they've got E. Jean Carroll, and now this. They're just knocking them out. They know those states are going to be good to them, that the District of Columbia is going to be good to them. That's why Jack Smith, who's doing the classified documents case in Florida, is having a horrendous time making any headway against Donald Trump. He's getting smacked down around every corner. And it's simply because it is in a nonpartisan place, unlike New York, unlike Washington, D.C., where a defendant can get a fair shot. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen there. It's not going to happen in Washington, D.C.
No.
And as we watch Donald Trump continue to head out of there, I would assume he's probably going. Look at those rims, by the way. I kind of like those. Probably headed to Trump Tower.
Strange. Is that the new Escalade, or
I don't know what that is. Looks like a Chevy to me.
I'm sure it's really expensive and bulletproof and all the other stuff, too.
Yeah.
If that's even the one Donald Trump's in, I mean, I would imagine they kind of, try to switch it up so you don't know which car he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that people don't realize, I was watching the chat to this ABC, is a lot of people were saying, oh, he's going to have fun with the other prisoners and the warden's not going to like him and all that. Dude, he's got Secret Service all around him. Nobody's going to touch his lunch tray.
These people are so stupid, man.
I truly think they're just deranged and they don't even understand, but they don't care. They hate him so bad.
Here's what, and outside the derangement that we're going to be watching over the next few, here's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be watching Republicans and see which Republicans come to the defense of Donald Trump in this case. Which are out in front of cameras, which there are some already. But in particular, which Republicans are not out in front of cameras?
Yep.
Which Republicans are not coming to the defense of Donald Trump? Because if you don't, it's not about whether or not you like Donald Trump. It's about whether or not you believe in justice in this country and you care whether or not our entire system comes crumbling down.
Well, that shows you that there are different levels of the Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of
somebody's
levels.
like, you've got a rhino that says, I can't stand Donald Trump. I'm willing to let justice suffer
and
just to see him go down.
Yeah, they're out there too.
We're looking for you. We're looking for you.
Writing your name down, Cuzzy. Speaking of which, I don't even have my... That's why I'm so stressed out. I don't have my pen.
I've got a black pen. Will that do?
No, I think I got one on standby.
Okay. All right.
I keep one in my bag just in case. But yeah, we're going to be taking names.
This is literally history we're watching, you know?
I know. Well, this is kind of our first podcast that we've done where we've just kind of watched something like this happen in real time. Usually we kind of do a pre-planned deal, and I text you guys, and I said, hey, verdict's in, Cuzzy. I'm on my way to the studio. Let's see what we could do. Oh nuts, man. And I'm actually in real time trying to watch my Twitter feed to get reaction from other people.
But you're right. It's going to expose a lot of Republicans. Just like Cat Williams said this past year, 2024, by the end of the year, all truths will come out and we'll know exactly who's on what side, etc.
Yeah. Donald Trump's presidential election donation page has crashed because so many people are trying to donate to his presidential campaign right now.
Oh, my God.
The entire website has crashed because so many people are there. Donald Trump sent out on True Social moments ago, victory on November 5th, Save America. Let's see.
I'm just going to keep playing this live on the corner.
Yeah, I'm about to get you some stuff here in a moment.
Okay.
Looks like Tommy Tupperville just put out a statement as
there you
well.
Go.
He said, it's a very dark day in American history. This trial was political witch hunt from the start. The fact that the Biden campaign staged a press conference outside the court tells you everything you need to know. Liberal activist Alvin Bragg and Biden donor Judge Merchan had a shared goal to put President Trump behind bars. Whether you consider the lopsided jury, the gag order issued to silence only President Trump, the prosecution's failure to outline the alleged underlying crimes, or the lack of unanimous verdict required for conviction, this trial was a complete joke and a massive misuse of taxpayer dollars. This is pure election interference, and the American people will see through it. We can't have a two-tier justice system if we don't return to our Constitution, which guarantees every U.S. citizen the right to free speech and the right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. We are no better than Venezuela or communist China.
Wow. You
Tommy
go,
Tupperville.
Tub.
I love that guy, by the way. I didn't give him enough credit until here lately.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think he's bought off either.
No, he's probably one of the few still looking through here.
Yeah, and at this point, it's either you're a globalist or an American, as far as I'm concerned. Any time they mention bipartisan agreement, I just think you're getting twice.
I am. Let's see. I'm about to put an upside down flag on my Facebook real quick. Can we just do that? Is that okay for everybody? All right, there we go. I just for the sake of being part of it. Y'all go steal that off my Facebook page there, John Bird.
And this is far.
I'm
going to
do a middle finger.
Yeah, put a middle finger.
This is far beyond Donald Trump. This is like
it is
America losing America here.
It is, and that's why the upside down flag's got so much meaning now, because it's not about Donald Trump. It's about this country and the fact that it is being destroyed by these people. Absolutely destroyed. Let's see. Still looking through here to see what I can find.
Yeah, and to think all of the things that the Clintons did for all those years, before, during, and after being president, and then here comes Trump, and this is what they end up with.
I've got some, looks like I've got some reaction from people outside the courtroom I'm sending you. This seems to be looks to be Trump supporters, people out there that were just showing support as the verdict was read. We can watch some of that. Also, we can get some rapid reaction from Judge Janine. I'll do that in a moment, but let's go with this one first. Outside the courtroom in Manhattan.
You cannot speak. You're not allowed to speak. What's the reason to have a judge? What's the reason to go to court? And I would say, even if you have an attorney cannot speak. You can, I'm thinking it's like, what's the reason to go to court? If you can look at the judge, you can. The attorney can say nothing. The judge, like. You got to stay shut up. You can't talk. So why I'm going to court? I thought the reason I'm going to court because you want to hear. That's the reason we have judges, because judge is supposed to hear both sides, not one side.
Yeah, well, you didn't have a judge in this one. This was a crony judge. Check that next one. I got this is a rapid reaction from Fox News, Judge Janine. Again, I'm not really vetting these. I'm just kind of going with the flow as we have to kind of get some of these in real time. But this was just moments ago.
I wish I could tell you, based upon all my years of experience, that they will bring a verdict back at a certain time.
Okay, yeah, scratch that. I thought this was reaction from her after the thing. It's what happens when we got breaking news. Sometimes we don't get it right, but that's what that was. That was from earlier. And the reaction, and John Bird, we're going to spend a lot of time on this tomorrow on the show. The reaction from people. I don't even want to give CNN credit, but part of me wants to know what they're saying right now. Would you happen to go to YouTube and see if there's a CNN live stream? And if so, we'll just for a moment, because I don't want to make our audience nauseous, but just for a moment, see if we can't find CNN live. Some people, it may not. It may be hard to find CNN live just because they're on, you got to have a cable provider, and the way YouTube and some of our stuff works, they won't let us carry that.
Yeah, it's not letting me do it.
Yeah, they may not have one on YouTube.
Want to do MSNBC maybe?
Try MSNBC just in case. The rest of it's things like AP, Washington Post has their own feed. They're all biased, but yeah, try that one right there and see if that's MSNBC live. Yeah, possibly. This is probably not their actual channel, but they probably got like an online channel. So let's
Trump
go to this.
Was the only family member, what I could see and hear in the courtroom. We reported he looked visibly angry when this verdict was. Alina Habba was texting when the verdict was coming out. I mean, talk about the surrogates, the family, anybody else who was there with Trump inside the courtroom when the verdict was read.
Yeah, there were actually fewer surrogates today than we have seen on previous days. Yeah, the entourage today was Trump's lawyers, obviously on either side of him at defense table, counsel's table. And then in the row behind him, we had Eric, we had Alina Habba, as you say. And then in the row behind him, it was actually campaign people. It was Boris Epshteyn, Trump's general counsel, Natalie Harp, the aide who prints off materials for Trump to read, and Stephen Chung.
So these are just some of MSNBC's reporters. When it'll get good, like if you can stomach some of this stuff, is prime time when you get into the Mad Owls and the whoever. I don't even know who all's on that channel anymore. But once you get to those people, then you'll be really hearing it.
I just was on a recent trip and I had to watch CNN all day at one spot. And I got to say, after 30 minutes, it was just so hard to listen.
I bet. You had to watch it like all day?
They had it on TV in this room all day. And I sat in the room. I wasn't watching it, but I was listening to it. And after so long, it's like, no wonder all these people have TDS. That's all,
You didn't say anything?
It was like giving like a drug addict the drug of choice, like all day. They just wanted to hear bad things about Trump. That's really all I heard.
Jumper, what would you do if you had to watch CNN TDS all day?
All right, what's the situation? Would I be tied down, or am I waiting in an office?
You're just forced to. You're in a jail cell, and they've got the CNN's on TV. Like, what would you do?
Okay, I would probably find something to cut my arm or something, and start screaming, I'm bleeding. And then when they came in there, I would I guess I would have to break the necks of 2 people, and I would go on a rampage.
Wow.
He's not being literal. He's just saying no violence ever,
Yeah. I thought you were just going to say you'd abstain yourself, but that's fine too. It's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I just...
Crazy.
I almost challenge anybody, go and watch CNN and try to pay attention for more than 15 minutes. It gets really hard.
I tell you, I'm going home and watching a SpongeBob marathon.
It's probably a good idea,
just
actually.
to get the bad taste out of my mouth.
I need to
That was almost a Larry Sinclair pun right there.
I'm sitting here trying to think of like what the rest of my night is going to look like.
Yeah, you're going to be a busy boy.
And I'm like, should I call Trish and ask her, what's for dinner? Just to like kind of give myself something to look forward to since everything else is gloom and doom. I sent you something else, Tony Gump. Grab that while I call Trish real quick. I'm serious. I just want to know what's for dinner.
Tell you what's on my list is Jim Beam.
Yeah, that does sound good.
Pork and beans.
I don't know about pork and
Maybe
beans.
some hot dogs.
Hey, live on the podcast. What's for dinner?
Man, I'm cleaning. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, Trump got found guilty on all 34 of those charges, so I'm trying to find something to look forward to.
Oh my gosh.
Do pizza night
right now, or are you just
That's Friday.
play it back?
No, it's all live and recorded. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what this is.
Hello, Trish.
But I can't edit it, so don't say anything crazy.
Well, we can just do tacos again. I don't care.
Okay, that works. All right, I love you.
Tacos to celebrate all the Hispanic voters.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
We're celebrating the Hispanic vote after this. Here's some MSNBC verdict. Let's see. Sentencing hearing set for July 11th. So that's the next step. This is MSNBC analysts fantasizing about Donald Trump being thrown in prison.
And we don't know if he's going to. The next thing I think the country is going to be waiting for is that. And what does prison for a former president look like? It could be down in Fort Bragg in a room. We don't know.
Unbelievable.
But, yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, it's we don't know what to look like with Donald Trump's in prison.
Fort Bragg in a room. What a dumbass. Just dumbass. That's all I can say.
These people, man,
Fort Bragg, a room.
I sent you earlier a Trump ad. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I still got that, and I'll send that to Tony Gump because that Trump ad was
powerful.
It was very powerful, especially the optics of it. It'll take me a minute. Again, as we're doing live stuff like this, we kind of just got to go with the flow. So
this is kind of the first time we've gotten news during the podcast that was this. I mean, well, never this big, but just in general.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the first. All right, here we go. Let me send this to you there, Tony Gump. Yeah. This is new territory for us, that's for sure. But it works, man. This is what we do on the radio every single day.
Got that right.
And we've gotten to where, I don't say we're good at it, but we did get some ratings in recently.
Wow, yeah.
The ratings, by the way, were pretty phenomenal.
Let me just give you a hint. 99.6%. Listen, that's all I'm going to say.
Of like the whole country?
No, just the Southeast.
Okay.
Surrounding states.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But of all people or just radio listeners?
No, everybody.
Oh,
all
everybody.
demographics from 12 to 90.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
no,
pretty good.
not really, but we did great.
Here's a new Trump ad, and this describes everything perfectly. Everything you need to know about what happened today is right here.
Thank you for joining us here today. Earlier this afternoon, Donald Trump was arraigned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts.
This case is an abomination. You know, it's obviously political. 7 years to try to come up with this case. They're just wrong on the law.
The only crime that Donald Trump is being prosecuted for is the crime of running for president.
Political persecution at the highest level.
They've quite frankly given up on trying to beat him at the polls. Either going to steal it or stop it by law firm.
A Democrat prosecutor elected on a Get Trump platform.
What's going on here is a disgusting disgrace. It is war on Trump. It is war on the Republican
That's Andrew
Party,
in 10 years.
and it is
20.
war on the Republic.
This case is the weakest case I've seen in 60 years of teaching, practicing, and writing about criminal law.
And I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump.
This judge, I mean, you don't need a prosecutor if you have a judge like this. This judge is not on the level.
It's a terrible case, but the judge has been pretty much a rubber stamp on everything that Bragg has wanted to do.
They're perverting the system of justice. You know, that's where the danger lies. The corruption and subversion of our institutions by the left.
This is the Democrats' entire strategy, to confine President Trump to a dirty criminal courtroom and keep him off the campaign trail where he can bring his winning message to voters across this country.
New York has become a legal banana republic. They are so determined to get Donald Trump.
Look, convicting Donald Trump, that's all they have.
I think they have no cards, and they're depending upon Trump getting convicted.
That Trump train doesn't show any signs of slowing down.
The only verdict that matters is the verdict at the ballot box.
Yes. There it is, baby. There it is, baby. Come on, bring it on. Think about this. What if, when this sentencing comes on July the 11th, they try to go the route of house arrest, confined to Trump Tower or Mar-a-Lago, ankle bracelet.
Didn't even think about that.
Because what are they trying to do here? They're trying to take him off the campaign trail.
Then you know what he does? I know what he does. Then you set up rallies with a gigantic, humongous screen. And in Mar-a-Lago, you have a room that's set up perfectly for Trump, and he does it virtually.
Or he just holds rallies at his house.
This would just be like Biden in 2020. He stayed in his basement the whole time.
Yeah, Biden did it. I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
He did it.
You cut that ankle bracelet off, you put it on one of the Secret Service agents, and you head on out, baby. Let's go.
Now, I'll tell you what I think's going to happen. I'll give you the full everything here. Trump is going to win the election, and they're going to use this against him somehow after he wins the election to make sure he doesn't become president. I'm making that prediction now.
That ain't going to work.
You say that, but there's Congress and there's all these electors they send out. They can stop an actual election and change it.
Yeah, they tell you that you can't, but actually that you can. They told us that we couldn't have alternate electors and all that kind of stuff.
At that point, I think that's when it's going to get ugly, because there are going to be enough regular people out there that there's going to be some serious hell raised.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of Civil War-like.
So here is kind of what they've been doing up until this point. They have been chipping away. As you know, after the midterms, Republicans had a teeny tiny slight majority only in the House, not in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
If the Democrats were to stop a duly elected Donald Trump on what would be January 6th or whatever the date ends up being, they could use Congress, but they would have to have control of the Senate and the House. Over the past few months, they have chipped away at that Republican, very small Republican majority. You have had rhinos leave office, retire. You have had them retire and leave office in a way that they don't have time to replace them with another Republican. You have had them go after other Republicans like George Santos, who was 100% MAGA, had a better conservative voting record than most Republicans. And they have slowly chipped away at that to where Republicans now only have, I think, a 1-seat majority.
Oh, God.
And if they don't have a majority, Democrats will then have the ability, and anything can happen between now and November, they would have the ability to take the election results and the delegates and say, Kamala Harris will be the one certifying it.
Yep.
She would have the ability to say, nah, it doesn't seem like a legit election. Throw it out. Joe Biden staying.
Yeah, and Pence had the same opportunity, but Kamala, Kamala, however you pronounce that, she probably go and do that.
You got war then. I mean, you got your war.
Look at Joe Burge is like, yeah, that's it. That's where.
That will be the breaking point.
That's a line, cuzzy. Man,
all this doesn't even seem real. This
it really
is like,
doesn't.
Like a movie.
It does. It seems like we're in a dream almost, because as we have covered this for the past several days and past few weeks, especially once we got into the realm of Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels testifying, it was such an utter disaster that we're like, even with a biased jury, like there's no way.
It's got to be thrown out.
There's no way. There definitely was no way they would convict him on all 34, but they just can't do it. The star witness, Michael Cohen, admitted under oath for the first time ever that he stole $50,000 from the Trump organization. That is the only person in this entire case that actually committed a crime. And here's where the problem lies. When it comes to the appeals case, there's 34 charges, 34 convictions. Those are 34 separate charges that are going to have to be overturned by this appeals court. That's more than just, we're not talking about just, hey, appeals court, they charged me with this thing. Can you knock that one out? 34 times.
The average person thought maybe there was a few charges in this thing, but 34 is ridiculous.
That's a lot.
And it seems like he only did one thing wrong, or supposedly.
Well, they charge, if you've got 34, you can undo 34.
Yeah.
And it's not like anybody would be surprised.
This is crazy.
At this point, anything can happen.
It's just,
I don't even know what to think at this point. It's infuriating. Again, I go back to my very first thoughts, which were, this is going to be a backlash unlike anything anybody has ever seen. I legitimately, this will be one of the biggest political backlashes in history. I'm sending you something else, Tony Gump. This is actually this is Donald Trump's first post since leaving the courtroom. He just posted to Truth Social, and this is the first thing he has posted, and actually with it posted a link to the website, which we now understand is down because so many people had bum rushed the website to donate to the Trump campaign. This is crazy stuff. Let's watch Donald Trump here.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
That's it, man. That's what we're up against. We're up against communists. We're up against socialists, Marxists. We're up against all these people. They are legitimately, through the Orange Man, trying to destroy this country.
And I think the thing is, most people aren't even aware that they're Marxist.
Yeah. No, they don't even know what that means.
They don't. They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
They just know, oh, this is the next cool thing.
Yeah.
The next trend.
I finally got my hands on some Judge Jeanine reaction, and the reason I felt like it was important was because she is a judge, and she's had phenomenal takes on this trial up until this point. This was just moments ago after Trump left the courthouse. This is what Judge Janine said.
People to understand that there is a huge connection between the jurors and the judge. The judge is the one who decides, when they go, to lunch, when they get a break, what they get for lunch, whether, they're going to have their needs that we don't even hear about met in that deliberation room. And when I was on the bench, in almost every case, I would say, the jurors would say to me, Judge, did we get it right? And they would want to know my opinion. And I would always say to them, you got it right. You're the jury. And so there's this connection between the judge and the jurors. So I'm not surprised at the verdict. Legally, I could take this on appeal myself. But what I'm most disturbed about is the fact that they come out, that the Democrats come out with the Biden campaign that you just read. It's an increasingly unhinged campaign of revenge. Donald Trump did not sound, when he came out of that courtroom, like he was full of revenge. And they talk about how he will now try to destroy the Constitution. It's just the opposite. Donald Trump is the strongest man I have ever met. There is no one who can withstand what this man has withstood. And I've known him for 40 years. He will fight the fight until the end. And this is a scenario that will energize him. It will energize his base. And hopefully, along with that energy, will come other people who will say to themselves, what did Donald Trump do wrong? What was it again that he did wrong? I'm not sure people know what he did wrong in this case. And, I don't want to hear about, the jury decided it was definitely right. Well, the appellate court will decide that. But what I can tell you is that this is the ultimate in terms of election interference. We saw it with Letitia James. She tried to bankrupt him, and maybe she did. I don't know. We saw it with Alvin Bragg, who's a Soros-funded prosecutor, and all of these prosecutors who want to take him down. Be careful what you wish for. And I don't want to see this happen because I believe in the system. To not believe in the system means that I wasted 3 decades of my life.
She's right.
Have to believe
As
in
a
the
matter
system.
of fact, she's right on the front of this is the ultimate form of election interference. Wasn't Russian collusion, wasn't the Ukraine call, it wasn't the call to Raffensperger in Georgia. This is the ultimate move of election interference. I'd never seen anything like this.
Yeah, the response is going to be 10x what the mugshot was.
Oh, I can't wait. That's why we have that mugshot hanging in this studio every day. We look at it every day as a reminder to keep up the fight. Yeah. That's exactly what we do. All right, we got to get out of here. We're out of time. We got so much more coming up. Make sure you go listen to the radio show tomorrow. If you're watching on whatever day this is, Thursday, Trump verdict.
D-Day.
So we got a lot. Yeah, D-Day. Tony Gump, you got anything before we get out of here?
Just get right with God at this point, and we got to save this country from these globalists. It's American versus globalist at this point. Forget parties. This is for real now.
Bingo. This is where the rubber meets the road. John Bird, final thoughts on what you've experienced today.
One word. Fight.
All right.
That is maybe the best final words John Bird has ever given.
It.
Good stuff, man. Thank y'all so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, you comment, and everything else. We'll be back with a new episode very soon. And until then, see ya, cuz.